politics are heating up big time in Pennsylvania. It's not just that special election. Check out this ad from Joe Sestak running against Arlen Specter for the Senate.
For 45 years, Arlen Specter has been a Republican politician.
Arlen Specter is the right man for the United States Senate. I can count on this man. See, that's important. He's a firm ally.
But now,
my change in party will enable me to be re-elected.
Arlen Specter switched parties to save one job. His, not yours.
The return of George W. Bush in a campaign ad. You gotta love that. We're joined now by Melinda Henneberger, the editor-in-chief of Politics Daily. And Melinda, I want to start with the economy because it has been just a kind of a wacky couple of days when you see the ups and downs with the stock market. It seems like the conventional wisdom is, look, the economy is growing, but it's not necessarily that people think that or people believe that because they're not seeing it.
I'm not sure that's what's happening with the stock market, but I think that the one indicator that average people look at the most is jobs. And so I think the fact that this 290,000 jobs have been added is probably the biggest thing. And as you said before, that people who have been too depressed to even look for a job are at least back out hitting the pavement.
No doubt about that. The market gyrations, though, could have some impact on the financial regulatory reform debate that is going on in the Senate right now. It seems that both parties still very much want to get a bill out. Harry Reid said, though, he wants it done by next week, and I just don't see how that's going to happen. Do you think there's going to be that kind of bipartisan coming around a bill by next week on financial reform?
I don't know. I wish that Alex Gibney's movie had a little more impact on financial reform because, I mean, I'm serious that, when you have Mitch McConnell still arguing that we're over-regulated and we're in the exact same position we were when the economy melted down, there's really, the Republicans and a few pro-bank Democrats really are fighting this tooth and nail, even while they say they can't wait to get some kind of regulation. Unless you're willing to have a consumer agency that really looks at it instead of self-policing, basically, then what's the real argument against having these predatory lenders? It's usury.
It's not a good political argument at the very least. This has been just a week that has tested the Obama administration in every direction. You've got the environmental catastrophe on the Gulf Coast. You've got natural disaster, flooding in Tennessee. Plus, you have the attempted terrorist attack in the heart of Midtown Manhattan. This is one of those weeks that the presidency really kind of hits you. What do you make of the way that the president has responded to these multiple crises on multiple fronts?
Well, I guess the thing I find more interesting is how the public has responded to their perception of what the president has done. It's the same guy, and yet half of the public thinks that the government did a fantastic job because they caught this guy Shahzad so quickly. The other half, in fact, a little more, a majority, feels that it's a shocking lapse of the federal government that this guy was able to park his SUV with, rigged in Times Square. But that to me seems pretty unfair to say. Wouldn't those be the same people who would be screaming Big Brother if we looked at every SUV parked in Times Square? So, it just shows how polarized we really are, the public.
Let me turn your attention to next week when we expect the big Supreme Court announcement, maybe as early as Monday. The president will pick his nominee here. Is your sense in talking to sources that he's itching for a fight here, or do you expect the White House to pick somebody and then paint them in a way that listen, a fight is inevitable, but I mean a big fight, like one that is going to halt Washington? Is that what your sense in the White House wants?
Absolutely not. Yeah. As with Rick saying he already has his hands full and then some, I really don't think that this being an election year in particular, I think we're more likely to see someone who's a little more acceptable to the other side.
Elena Kagan,
even
you think
though,
it's Kagan?
Everybody seems to think it's Kagan, so maybe that's an argument that it couldn't possibly be. But since they have said that they're putting out the pro-Kagan talking points, maybe that means something.
Well, everyone thought it would be Biden, and then you wanted to second guess it. So
the interesting thing that I've heard is people in Congress saying that they really want to have a more interesting discussion this time than when Sonia Sotomayor was
and
up.
it could be a big discussion on different issues as well. Melinda Henneberger, editor-in-chief of Politics Daily. Thanks for being here.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Want to make sure everybody tunes in on Sunday this week. The guest is Eric Holder, the Attorney General, doing his first Sunday show round this weekend. Also exclusively, we'll have Rudy Giuliani, the former New York City mayor, to talk about that Times Square failed bombing attempt.
All things New York, indeed. And next week, we're back with a new partnership with the Washington Post, but you can always find us here, twitter.com/TheNote.
Click us on Monday, folks.